And honorable colleagues, I am Awaji, Inombek, Dagomie, Abiante. I represent Andoni, Opobo, Nkoro Federal Constituency. I am a Rivers man. I rise to move that a bill for an act to amend the Maritime Operations Coordinating Board Act, Cap M4, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, reconstituting the Maritime Operations Coordinating Board for effective control of all maritime operations in Nigeria's territorial waters and the exclusive economic zone, create the Maritime Security Fund, establish anti-piracy offenses, and for related matters. Be read a second time. I so move.
Honorable Dennis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And my distinguished colleagues, we all know that Nigeria has a coastline of about 853 kilometers. That has made Nigeria a very important maritime nation. Nigeria has a responsibility to enforce the international conventions she has appended signatures to. But primarily among these conventions is the safety of life at sea, the SOLAS Convention. This amendment is aimed primarily at reconstituting the board to ensure that it functions much more effectively. The amendment is also to ensure that there is fund made available and set aside for maritime security. The amendment will also guarantee that the issues of piracy is contained and controlled. Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, it is reported that Nigeria loses about $1.5 billion every month. $1.5 billion every month as a result of piracy activities, as a result of the abduction of crew members on board vessels that are within the territorial waters of this country. We also know, Mr. Speaker, that the shipping activities as it relates to Nigeria has been affected to the extent that most shippers would not want to get into our territory. What are the reasons? The reasons advanced are that our waters are not very safe. Something has to be done to make the water safe. We have to encourage the Nigerian Navy to function effectively. This attitude, these actions, these infractions, Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, have also led to rise in the cost of freight to this country. Insurance companies charge extra to allow their vessels call within Nigerian ports. It needs to be controlled, it needs to be contained, Mr. Speaker. It has also affected the freight volume that comes into this country. Invariably, it has affected the economy of Nigeria. And we don't have to let this continue, especially at this time when we have issues of recession within the economy. So everything that needs to be done to ensure that the freight volume increases and that the freight charges are also reduced should be encouraged. Mr. Speaker, the issues of piracy affect even the ordinary man within the coastal environment. Travels between Port Harcourt and Bonny is always very dangerous, Mr. Speaker. Boats are abducted. Their drivers are abducted. Boats are stolen. Women are raped properties are lost. Mr. Speaker, if this amendment is taken, it will help to improve the safety and security of the maritime environment. Mr. Speaker, this amendment will also assist to give impetus to the enforcement on the Sea Fisheries Act. Because of the illegal activities on the sea, fishermen around our areas, those in Brass, those in Agbama, Lokmile, or Irokoto, no longer engage in the economic activities that they are used to because of fear of pirates. Mr. Speaker, in generating the funds for the Maritime Security Fund, we don't need to go too far in generating the resources. Because as we speak, companies operating within the coastal environment are contributing so much, but in making these contributions, they are not coordinated. Owners of vessels that call at our offshore points, they usually require escorts, and these escort duties are not very free. They pay. But if this fund is set aside, it will become a primary responsibility of the Navy to provide security within these areas. The funds will be coordinated, and these IOCs will not be made to pay anything extra than what they have contributed to the fund. Mr. Speaker, the fund also intends to draw from the revenues accruing to NIMASA under the Cabotage Act. Because if there is no security, if there is no safety within the coastal environment, even the functions and activities of that agency will be impeded. The inputs coming in from the coastal trade will be impaired. Mr. Speaker, this amendment will also guarantee the status of Nigeria relevant and relative to the International Maritime Organization. We are not sure, it is not certain, if Nigeria is still on the white list of the IMO. And this is as a result of the issues of security within our maritime environment and the Gulf of Guinea. Mr. Speaker, this amendment will enhance the capacity of the Nigerian Navy to make it an agency, to make it an institution that will be very prepared and ready, capable to enforce the requirements of law within our coastal environment. It will also keep her ready for any eventuality in the event that there are infractions from any side, any day, anytime. Mr. Speaker and my distinguished colleagues, I want to urge all of us to please support this amendment. It has come at a very wonderful and good time, at a time when we are all concerned with the issues of insecurity in Nigeria. This bill, when amended, will help to solve most of the insecurity challenges within the maritime domain of Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, I so submit. Thank you.
Honorable Dennis. Will be now read a second time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable members, a bill for an act to amend the Maritime Operations Coordinating Board Act, Cap M4, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, reconstituting the Maritime Operations Coordinating Board for effective control of all maritime operations in Nigeria's territorial waters and the exclusive economic zone, create the Maritime Security Fund, establish anti-piracy offenses, and for other related matters. Second reading.